So our heart is in the thoracic cavity, which obviously, and it is located in the mediastinum. So in the lower part of the mediastinum, we have the pericardial cavity. So it's in the mediastinum. So the heart, we know that we have serous membranes in the pericardial cavity, right? And the visceral part of the serous membrane is covering the heart itself. So if we have a covering that covers the outside of the heart here, I'm going to do it as best as I can here. This is the serous membrane. So this is the visceral layer of the serous membrane. It's the visceral pericardium. It's also called the epicardium. Okay, but we know that the serous membrane also has a parietal layer, and it is continuous with this visceral layer. So if I come out here and do this, now we have the parietal layer of the pericardium. So the parietal pericardium. So the parietal pericardium and the visceral pericardium create a space, right? And this space is called the Sarris Pericardium. And we know that there's a little bit of fluid in this space here. Your heart's beating and pounding. If you're running away from some bear or something, your heart is just pounding away. You're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel those layers rubbing. You're not going to feel friction and rubbing of that, which would be would hurt. It wouldn't feel good. The serous pericardium is what we call the pericardial cavity. So it's also that. So inside here, okay, so we've got the serous membranes here, and we have the visceral pericardium on top of the heart. So this pink stuff then would be the muscle, right? Because that's what the heart is a bunch of, is this cardiac muscle. So this would be the myocardium. And inside the myocardium, put this in a different color, there's a layer of tissue, and it's simple squamous. And inside here, this simple squamous layer right here, inside the heart, is real, like slippery smooth. So there's a little layer there. And that layer is called endocardium. So like in the vessel, we have endothelium. In the heart, we have endocardium, and that lines the inside of the heart. And that tissue, that squamous tissue is smooth and slippery and makes it easy for the blood to be able to move around real well in there. On the outside of the heart, outside of the parietal pericardium, there's a layer here. In fact, I'm going to do it like this. It's right outside of this parietal pericardium here. And that layer is called the fibrous pericardium. So it's some fibrous connective tissue that goes around the pericardium, the cavity of the heart, that kind of anchors it into the thoracic cavity there. So this fibrous pericardium, we go here. So the fibrous pericardium plus the parietal pericardium makes the pericardial sac. Okay. Sorry. I think that's it for that. So just looking up here in this little picture here, you can see here's the heart. So we're looking at this little piece of it. So here on the outside is the fibrous pericardium. And then you can see here, I'm going to do it in blue because I have it in here, but so you can see this little structure here. That is the visceral pericardium and the parietal pericardium. And you can see here how they're one thing. They're connected. Okay, so this thing here is the visceral pericardium, also called the epicardium. And then this guy here, let me put it in green. This thing here is the epicardium, or excuse me, endocardium. Sorry. Endocardium. Okay, so that is the serous membranes. That's the anatomy of the pericardial cavity. So you want to make sure to know those layers, and just remember that serous membrane. This is one continuous thing here. You can see that here, one continuous thing. If you remember from last semester, it's like the heart being pushed into a balloon, and it makes those two layers there.